Recording.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark Stevenson from Coldesi. The guy behind me, you can just see his left arm is Mark Vila from Coleman & Company. And there he is. Okay.
Hi.
And there's a lurker off to my side here, Don Copeland, who you're going to see way too much of in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
So I think today what we'll do is start a little bit differently than we usually do. And I'm going to do a little housekeeping before we get started.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to understand a few things about the webinar experience and the resources that you can use to take advantage of it. Okay, so the first one is, as I switch back here over to the computer screen from the video, some of you may have lost the image. Click away, click back again, look on the bottom of your screen for a little snowflake icon that's go to webinar. You may lose picture occasionally. Normally it's just temporary, it just takes you resetting things a little bit. Click away, click back again. If you were on a mobile device, a phone, an iPhone, an iPad, an Android tablet, anything like that, you're probably going to have an issue during the webinar at some point. It's not quite seamless. Next time you can maybe download, there's a GoToWebinar app that I'm going to put a link to in future webinar invitations so you'll know in advance. But if you have any problems, let us know, but know that there's really not too much we can do about it. The video that you see and the audio that you hear is completely depending on the connection for your computer. So if the video is kind of fuzzy, maybe close all the other windows on your computer, stop doing email, stop playing Call of Duty on your computer while you watch the webinar, things like that. What you're looking at here is our CS Webinars page. So this is a resource that I strongly encourage you to take advantage of. As it goes through, you'll see it has a list and a schedule of our webinars that are coming up in the upcoming months and weeks. And we've got it organized in a couple of different ways. There's just the Coldesi presentations, there's the Coleman & Company, and we have a new section that is tips and training. And for right now, this is for our direct-to-garment printer customers, but within the next 30 days, we're going to start doing several times a week just kind of educational webinars on embroidery, on digitizing software, as you see on direct-to-garment printing, on Rhinestones. So this is a free resource that we offer to all of our customers. And as long as you've purchased a machine from us or you buy some supplies from Coleman & Company, you are welcome to attend. Okay, and that is caswebinars.com. The next one is Custom Apparel Startups. I hope you're all members already, but if you're not, there are now 1,863 people just like you who are either in the business or trying to get started in the business, and they help each other on a daily basis with things like Isabella here, who has to quote some screen printed t-shirts and didn't know how to price it. There's somebody else who just started using their avance-emb machine and needed to find the link to our online training, our live online training. And there are a variety, there's just people showing off, like Vince Bodkin here, did a great job with one of our printers, printed a huge print. It's just good to see and talk to these other people that are in the business. There's also an internet radio show, a podcast that we put on called the CAS Podcast. And you will see here, there's biggest mistakes when starting a t-shirt business. There's the same one on starting an embroidery business. And we just recorded a webinar, a podcast this week on 2016 planning. So especially if you are new to the business, it's going to be a good one. So make sure that you go here and sign up. And of course, here's our support site that has all of our training, our embroidery support. We have tons of videos on our YouTube channel, almost 700 videos that are just there to show you stuff, to help educate you in the business and things like that. And the last thing I'll show you, thank God, before I turn it over to Don Copeland, because if he hasn't spoken in several minutes, then he gets a little nervous. This is our Coldesi blog called Insights, and we have some great articles on here. So I encourage you to take a look. Don, just let me know that I'm number one in his eyes. All right. Here we go. Okay, we're back. If you were coming here for a very serious, hard-hitting, professional kind of presentation, that's not what you're going to get.
I thought you said hit me hard.
No, it's not. All right, this is Don Copeland. I'm going to call a paramedic. I will see you. I'll see you in just a few minutes.
Hey, oh, and I went away.
You're still there.
Nice. I'm there. Just
I
I can't see me.
Gift. I
All
was
right.
giving them the gift.
All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. As we always say, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your evening. If you're on the West Coast, hey, look at the bright side. You get off work an hour Glad you guys could be here tonight. We're going to talk a bit initially about the Avance 1501C. It's our kind of our mainstream embroidery machines we sell here. But at the end, we're going to kind of segue into doing some rhinestones with our brush and bake system with Mark Villa. And we're actually going to show you guys a little bit more, kind of adding a little bit of a instructional twist to these webinars this year in 2016, showing you a little bit of multimedia mix and match, using the same artwork and how to get more impact out of it. And you're getting ready to say something.
Yeah, and the idea is that if you just offer embroidery, you'll make good money. If you can offer embroidery and rhinestones or any two technologies for apparel decorating, you'll multiply your profits.
A lot of these packages that we will be showing over the next couple months in incorporation either with the DTG printers or with the Avance embroidery machines are relatively small ticket items relative to the additional package that you've already bought. We do offer you bundle packages that save you a few $100 by bundling it together. But like Mark said, it's kind of a multiplier on what you can do by adding this into it. Let's start off with the machine itself. The Avance itself, it's a 15 needle compact machine. It is 15 needle, means 15 color, obviously. Does automatic trims, automatic color changes for you. I'm saying this for anybody who is in the commercial marketplace themselves. If you guys, by the way, I'm going to turn the camera around to these pants Spark that just put on that we did one of the transfers. In case you haven't figured out, we're real, and Mark and I have been doing these way too long together. All right? So I was saying, a lot of these things I may be bringing up, if you're into the commercial marketplace, they're kind of automatic that you think about. But a lot of folks these days, we're finding out here in the last about 18 months, a lot of home businesses kind of taking that next step where it's gone from being just cottage industry to wanting a real commercial machine instead of one of the B machines. And I'm not going to mention any specific names, Brother, Baby Lock machines that potentially people would be looking at instead of a commercial machine. And it's automatic trims, automatic color change. If you ever had to deal with a single needle machine that doesn't have trim, you understand what we mean. You're not having to cut all your jump stitches and whatnot. The machine itself has a very large sewing field. I'll show you the largest size hoop, which is pretty representative of it. The sewing field itself is actually just a hair under 20 inches by a hair under 14. This is the largest hoop, which is a 15 by 21 inch hoop. This is often used if you're doing large items like a blanket. We do patches. In fact, we did patches a couple of webinars ago. We did the patches in this. It's great. You can line up. You might put 10, 12, 14 patches in this at a time. When you're doing large items like that, I disappear from the screen, right? Yes. Which is kind of a blessing, Mark would say. It also has a table that comes with the machine that you would put on top of the machine to help bear the weight of the heavier item. You're going to get two of everything. If you haven't done commercial embroidery before, you're going to find that keeping the machine running is what it's all about. So it's important to have two of everything. You know, we say, and I have to say it at least once in every webinar I do, we want to have two of everything so you have the next item ready to go so we can get it on the machine. Because if it ain't making noise,
it's not going to make any money.
It ain't making money, right? And so having the second thing ready allows you, as soon as it stops, have the next one ready, pop it in, get the machine sewing. Then you worry about unhooping, getting the next one hooped up and ready to go so that you can start the machine right up again. You're going to get two standard, this is a 9 centimeter hoop, two 12s. We have the 15 on the machine. You get two 15s. This is a 21 centimeter hoop. These are all shirt front hoops. You're going to get two of these. These are standard 12 by 12 jacket backs. Yeah, welcome to the embroidery world. Half the time we speak in English, half the time we speak in metric, right?
Yeah.
Also a 300 by 300 is what these are called for your jacket back hoops. So you're going to get 8 of the shirt fronts, 2 jacket backs, and then one of the super jacket back or large item hoops. You're also going to get your cap driver, which bolts right onto the machine. We won't probably change over to this tonight, but if you go on our website, you'll see there's a real quick video where you have Sean showing how to transfer from flats over to caps. And then you can get 2 of the cap frames, which I didn't bring a cap frame out, but we have the cap frames, the 270 degree cap frames to do your hats as well. You get 2 of those, as well as, oh, it's on the hooping gauge right here on the hooping gauge, right? Yes, sir. Yeah. Get that off of there. This way you don't do it
while you're on live TV.
I
think the point is that you get the ability to do caps, just like
this is literally you're going to sew from here to here, 270 degrees around the cap. You get 2 of those. Again, one to hoop, one not. The thing that I wanted to show you guys, it was so easy to work with. is the hooping gauge. That's what you would use. You probably wouldn't put it right there on
Right,
your
it's a little
machine
low.
because as you'll notice, I kind of walk like this when I go around it because you'll hit yourself in the thigh. You want to mount it to a table or something like that. But you get 2 of those, as well as the hooping gauge. We're also going to include everything you need to get started with the machine. If you haven't set up a machine before, you may not know all the things you would need. So when the machine arrives, if you knew what you were doing, within literally half hour to an hour, you're up and sewing. You got to build the stand, which is included with it. This is a wheeled cart that actually has casters on the bottom. It's very easy to move around, very stable. It is going to come with a full set of threads, our 15 most popular colors of thread in the full-size spools, 5,000 meters. It's also going to come with a gross of bobbins, 100 extra needles, different scissors, tweezers, everything you would need to get started. 2 different types of backing, entire spools of it. We give you Solvay, which if you're new to this industry, that means absolutely nothing to you.
But it's important
Solvay,
stuff.
Solvay is a topical you would put on something like a terry cloth or a fleece or something like that you want it to be held down while you're embroidering over it so that the fuzz doesn't poke through the embroidery. And then once it's sewn, it doesn't matter. It's all sealed up. And what happens is the first time you wash it, the material itself is actually water-based and it dissolves away.
Right.
So-
Don, I know we've got a couple of people that are here that have been looking at or own a high-end consumer machine.
Correct.
Would you kind of walk people through the physical machine and
Yep.
what the differences are?
Yeah, we're going to do that. We've covered all the components. You're going to get you're going to get some level of software. We have basic software that comes with it. You'll see here in a bit when we have Sean come up. We'll show you the Stitch Hero Liberty. Every time I say Sean, his head pops up, right? It's like he sleeps until he hears his name. But he's going to show you the Stitch Hero Liberty, which is our full-blown digitizing software, which is what 80% of our customers buy with the machines. That's all included with the package. Literally, it shows up. The guys have sewn out 300,000 stitches on the machine. So everything is lined up, set, and ready to go. Thread through the machine, you're ready to go. To get into the basics of the machine itself, don't fall.
Yes.
Or top of the table.
Yes.
Get into the basics of the machine itself.
But just in case you do, I'm going to wheel this
He's gonna
around
go
so
around
we
and
get a
point
good
it down
so we get a
you can
good
see me on the
recording.
ground. There
Yeah.
we go. The machine itself is like I described earlier. It's 15 needle compact machine. This actually is the machine itself. It's all self-contained. You don't have a separate control box or anything like that separate from it. So if you were to go to an event or someplace where you wanted to just take the machine, not worry about the cart, you can just pick this up and go with it. It's not going to say light enough. It's unheavy enough
Right.
that 2 adults can pick it up and move it into a vehicle like an SUV or minivan or something like that. Machine's going to have a full color display. All right, it's got real-time stitching on it. So when you're embroidering a job, you'll be able to see exactly where you're stitching at it. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but if you look here and look here, it shows the area that's missing down here is what's missing up here. It's actually keeping track of it so I can see where I'm at. It's actually, without having to walk all the way across, I can see this and say I'm about 80% of the way done. I can actually go to the control panel and see how close I am to being completely done. It's going to show me the number of stitches, the speed I'm sewing at, the speed I'm set to sew at, because it's not always the same. The machine's going to ramp up. It's going to ramp down as it's coming to certain areas. It's going to slow down around certain types of stitches and whatnot. All that is going to show over here on what we would consider the speedometer as opposed to the cruise control. But you have it set at the machine itself and the control panel. I can load 200 designs, up to 2 million stitches. And a really cool thing about this compared to most commercial machines on the market is that it actually saves the sew sequence when you load the design. Most machines, when you load a design into memory, when you pull that design up from memory, it's going to use the sew sequence in the machine itself at that time. And so the last design I sewed, it's going to use that sew sequence.
And what does that mean? That means it's going to
assign
assign
it. You got to reset the sew sequence for each design.
and sew sequence is colors of thread or needles.
Correct. So
in order.
Embroidery, if you have not done embroidery, the files that we use to do embroidery are colorblind. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean that they don't understand color. It just means that it's just an action to them. So I bring in the Coldesi logo, which I think it's probably got to look for a second. It's got 6 colors in it. There's probably 7 color changes the way it's set up. It doesn't know what those 7 colors are. It knows it sews, it stops, and it's supposed to go to another color. It stops, goes to another color, it stops, goes to another color. We have to tell it color number 1 is needle number 4. Color number 2 is needle number 13. Color number, and you tell it that sew sequence so it knows to go 4, 13, 6, 9, 11, 12, 8. All right?
That's right.
And it's going to save that, so that's the sequence it goes to. It doesn't care If you got the wrong color thread on it, you got the wrong color thread on it.
Right. Now, Don, I had some questions emailed into me.
Okay.
And one of them is automatic tensioning. Someone said they
Automatic
saw-
tensioning, that's what happens when you hang around Mark too much. Automatically, you
automatic
get really
tense.
tense, and people
Thank
start getting
you,
nervous and
okay.
shaking, all right? Automatic tensioning, don't buy a Melco. Next question.
Okay.
No.
Keep going.
That's an Amaya thing. And auto tensioning, while it sounds really good, it opens up a can of worms that you really don't need to mess with. Our customers very rarely ever play around with tension on a
Right.
machine. The only time you're really going to change much in tension is if you're doing some radical type of stitch pattern, or if you're changing thread brands or thread type.
Okay.
Let's say I had the job I had to do that required that I sew it out in rayon, I would change the tension of that. A lot of folks will take these machines, and if they do any metallic, they may take needle 15 and dedicate needle 15, that thread, to metallic, even though they might change it between gold and silver, right? And they'll go ahead and tension it properly for that. But it's something that has not been part of the embroidery industry. This is a mature industry, guys. If it's something that really is beneficial and it works, it is copied.
Right.
There's the machines that we were selling when I started here in 2004 and the machine I will sell you today in 2016, the only difference
is the magic box.
the way we input our data, we have color displays. They're still sewing at 1,200 stitches per minute.
Yeah.
The sew fields are pretty close to the same. The sew quality is the same. There have been some nice features added for attachments and stuff that hold things better, but nothing else has changed, and there's a reason for that.
Okay, got another question for you. Can this machine operate on fabrics such as silk tulle, silk satin lace, nylon mesh, silk organza, very delicate and slippery fabrics?
Slippery?
Yes, slippery.
I mean, the key when you're working with any item like that is actually hooping it right, using the proper backing. A lot of times when I think of like silk or I think of like satin, something like that, you're not going to use the traditional backing I would use on a golf shirt or on a PK or something like that. You're going to use like a mesh backing or something like that, Sean?
On the side of the machine.
Like on the side of the machine, which I should have known that.
See?
We always have mesh backing sitting around on the side of the machine. This is mesh backing, right? It also looks like the stuff that you, like baby wipes.
Okay.
It's a much softer type of material. You'll use that on something that's more supple. You almost could use it on these type of shirts. Nowadays, a lot of these performance wear shirts are really getting to the point that they're almost like, the negligee that JR's wearing back there. You guys can't see right now. But it is, it's just a matter of the different backings and getting the right hoop tension.
Okay.
To go the other end of the spectrum, if you start to get into heavy duty items like a Carhartt or something like that, then you want to go, we have some aftermarket hoops we sell that are magnetic. It'll hold those because when you get a really heavy item and you get moving it, sometimes it wants you just to pop and it'll pop out.
Yep.
JR's actually going to go and grab one. We have one. They're scary magnetic hoops we use for heavier items.
And I think we've had this question before, but I can't remember the answer. Can it make standalone lace using water-soluble stabilizer?
Standalone lace.
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. That's what Richard Nixon
Yeah,
used to
'cause-
always say when he didn't know the answer.
Right.
Well, the top
We will
solving-
email you the answer to that one, right?
Well, top solving is when it dissolves, it's got
Right.
a gluey substance,
Okay.
so that will help hold the stitches.
So you're talking about actually just sewing,
Making
and
lace.
sewing into Solby. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex, did you get out of your finger? This is a type of hoop. This is actually a mighty hoop that we sell. As you can hear, that is pretty powerful. And there are probably 6 or 7 different sizes. This would be something that you want to get as an aftermarket. If you're doing Carhartt jackets, you're doing horse blankets, things like that that are so heavy they may pop out. The first time I saw one of these things demonstrated, they actually was at a trade show. They actually took a Carhartt jacket and they offset this and they threw it into the air and it dropped and it hooped itself.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's how strong these are. They're definitely.
Okay. Cora says freestanding lace, your machine will. Cora, are you using an Avance to do that? If you are, we'd love to have a video or a picture.
Yeah, we'd like to see how to do that.
No, but it will. Okay.
Okay, cool. It sounds like you're right. It's just a matter. Most of these things, when you ask about sewing them, there's 2 things you got to take into account. How do you stabilize it, and how do you hold it on the machine, right? I have people talk about a customer wanted to do luggage, the roll behind luggage. They really wanted to do it on the pocket. And they said, well, what do it? And I'm like, yeah, you have to stand here like this, right? And hold it. The reality check is, though, if you're doing enough of that stuff, you build a table here that has a top that it'll slide on with like a Formica top or something like that, and that will allow it to be supported. It's usually on those type of items, it's dealing with the stuff you're not sewing.
Yeah.
It's not so much as the stuff you're sewing, it's handling the stuff that's not being sewn. I've had customers who with compact machines who do a fair amount of heavier jackets, and what they do is they actually extend some bungee cords with clips on them from their ceiling, and they actually clip onto so you have it looks like a bat, right? But it's holding up the weight of the jacket with those bungee cords. We do that with Mark sometimes. We do. You got me all derailed.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think you did a good job in kind of going over the machine for a change. Did you want to show it? Did you want to show it embroidering? I know we've got something going on.
No, I like to hear my own voice, Mark.
I know you do.
All right. So one thing, here's what we're going to do. Speaking of my own voice, even though I do sound kind of loud, we're starting the machine back up. We're actually sewing right now. I'm not talking any louder than I was. Hopefully you all can hear me about the same. It's a very quiet machine. Part of that is it's got a pretty good amount of mass. All right. What?
Just going to make sure that I don't unplug the camera.
Okay. See right here, we're sewing right now. You can tell I'm just talking in my normal inside voice, which is a louder than normal inside voice, but
still,
it's still a very quiet machine. I have folks, I was talking to a lady, I think it may even be here at the webinar tonight, but, she's got a home-based business, and she was running from room to room. Well, I have people who live in apartments or something like that, townhomes. They're worried about the sound of having this machine running. Even a shop, it's not bad, and you can cheat it a little bit. We are on carpet, but not anything ridiculous. Get carpet squares, printer to help things. A lot of that comes from the fact that the machine is dampened well, and also the fact that the machine has some mass to it. Yeah. When you start to look at some of the machines that have auto tensioning, or some of the home machines, there's a lot of plastic components that are lighter that make you rattle. They're going to rattle, and they're not going to have it, especially when you start to running them full tilt.
Okay. So should we move on to showing off the software a little bit?
Showing off.
Sean
Do we have any questions? Noise reduction? Yeah, I mean, basically it is. There's some noise dampeners in there, but also part of it is just the mass of the machine itself.
Just good design, basically.
Yeah, it is well designed. And it sounds crazy. These little rubber feet here, rubber type feet, they're going to absorb more than a metal to metal. Previous machines that we've dealt with, and a lot of machines you actually are connected to a metal stand with a metal screw with a metal machine, and they're going to give you more opportunity to sound. You don't have the caster. Another big benefit to this is the way this is set up. Where it's not coming off this table, by the way.
Right.
If it comes off this table, somebody got hurt. All right. But the other side to it is it's important to have an embroidery machine level, and if you've got it on a stand where it's bolted to the stand, it's almost impossible. You can't level the machine, you have to level the stand. It's a much more of a nightmare. With this, I level the stand it doesn't matter if I get a little slight, which we do in here, a little slight hand to our floor. You don't have to worry about that. All right? Other questions on the machine itself? These things I didn't mention. You can input your designs by USB thumb drive. You can input your designs through an Ethernet connection on the back here. You can network the machines together. It means you have 4 or 5 machines, you can send the data out via the Ethernet connection to all of the machines. Most importantly, when you buy the machine, if you're starting to grow your business, you're going to get that uneasy feeling. Did I make the right move? Did I make the wrong move? Did the sales guy undersell me because he just wanted to make a quick sale? He didn't. With the Avance 1501C, literally for 2 entire years, we're going to upgrade 100% to bad boys like this. All right? I want to swing this around a little bit here. This is our forehead. That's Iris's drink, by the way. That's Iris hiding, right?
There.
All right. But that's our forehead. We also have a 6 head. You can upgrade. They barely got the bottle of Jack Daniels out of there when I swung that around.
Iris's forehead.
It's Iris's forehead, right? You're able to upgrade to that for 100% trade up for 2 full years. It looks like Bridget has asked, can it be? Yes, it absolutely can take it mobile. Bridget, literally, this is the machine. You would pick it up. If you wanted to take the stand, you could take the stand. But a lot of our customers like to take the stand because you roll it up to your SUV, pick it up, put it in, put the stand in, and take it out again. Here's a design we just sewed. It stands for Don Copeland, DC. Coldesi. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
we sewed this out. This would be kind of typical of what you would do for like a men's jacket or something like that. We're going to come up with a couple other situations. Mark's going to go into, Sean's going to show you how we digitize this. And then Mark's going to show you how we would digitize for the rhinestones to actually do
which is in the same software.
a brush and bake to generate a pattern that you would do for just rhinestone, which is the pants Mark had on, which I will never be able to unsee. And also, then the last one, we're going to show you a multimedia mix. We're actually going to take this design with just the standard orange embroidery, and we're actually going to put some rhinestones around it, which you might do for a lady's jacket.
And somebody had a question up there. Yes, the Avance 1501C is definitely mobile.
Correct.
You can take it to shows. You can take it to,
right,
anywhere really. And it'll fit in a closet. You can roll it right into a
right.
closet if you don't.
So, Marcel, I think you and I spoke today. Thanks for getting here. No, they do not. They're still, you're basically networking them to share data. You're loading them up, and they're going to sew independently. It's definitely a way. There's two ideas on this, whether it makes the most sense. If you're doing a lot of larger orders, a 4-head or a 6-head is certainly the way to go, because to give you the math, if this costs X, a 4-head costs 2.5X, and a 6-head costs less than 4X. All right. So for your dollar per head, by the time you get to a 6-head, you're less than $6,000 a head for productivity.
Yeah.
So it's definitely much more productive. A 4-head takes up about the space of 3 singles, and a 6-head takes up less than the space of 4 single heads. All right. You're going to have actually more current draw on 4 single heads than you will on a 4-head, because you can run your 4-head on 220 volt, which is going to be more efficient. It's going to be less to operate.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what you want to have is a multi-head and a single head or two to do customization. Because when I'm doing Coldesi shirts, if we put Don over here or Mark or Sean, we want to do those on our single head while we're doing the Coldesis on the multi-head, right?
You know what, Don? We're going to have a whole webinar just on that. Just on, what's best.
Right. The fits on it. Right.
Okay.
Mark's trying to tell me to hurry up.
I am. Let's get over to software so you have the opportunity to see the digitizing.
Right. We're going to bring on Sean the Man Gades, and Sean is actually going
to
go through our.
I did not realize it was like that.
Stitch Era Liberty. Stitch Era Liberty is our standard digitizing package that most people buy. And, embroidery digitizing software has come down ridiculously since I've been here. I started here in 2004. You didn't touch digitizing for under about $4,000. And now you can get it for under $1,000. When you buy it with your machine, you actually get about a $150 knockoff of what it would be if you bought it by itself, which is a nice benefit. The cool thing about the software we use, which says Stitch Era Liberty, it's actually part of the Sierra Technology Group's package that they call their design era, right? And what it is, they use the same engine to do the design work. And you actually look at the top there, if Sean will show you, you have artwork. That's just for general design of graphics. And you have embroidery application and hotfix application. So you can bring in your graphic and convert it to whatever you want. So whatever, and then you can go in and add embroidery or hotfix.
Add embroidery in there. Just to show you, let's see. That is the CD logo. So what we have is right here.
You saw Sean brought in what's called a DSG file. There's 2 types of files you're going to deal with in embroidery. A design file and a stitch file, right?
That is correct.
This is an editable, that's a mouthful, editable file. So if Sean found out he needed to make a change into it, he could go back in here and edit it. Whereas if it was already converted to stitches, then he can only edit it to stitch level.
Correct. This is basically the logo I used for the CD that you just saw sewed out.
Yep.
To simply create it in the 2-tone color that I did is just grab my left arrow tool, select the 2 sections that I wanted to fill. I went to my embroidery tab, shows my Art to Stitch Intelligent, clicked OK, and a matter of clicks and my CD logo is created.
Hard to see because it's the same.
It is in black.
Black and white. So that's a vector file basically now.
The vector file no, that's actual stitches.
Oh, it's actually the stitches now. Great.
So we have now created the CD, and it had a satin border around it.
Wow, what did you just do there?
I turned on to a real view.
So that's what
simulation view.
Simulation. That's what the real stitches look like.
Correct.
Pretty cool.
I will go ahead and Move this out of the way so we can see our object manager. I will select the two fill areas. Down below where you've got the object inspector, I select borderline. Right now there's no fill mode. I change it from none to a zigzag, and now you have your satin border around your two fill sections.
Awesome.
So pretty much your design is done in a matter of a few minutes, and you're able to send that to the machine and sew.
And what was that file? What was the original file itself? What was that you worked from? The CD? Was that
That was a vector file.
a vector file?
Vector is
You can
the
do that
image.
with a JPEG.
Okay.
You bring in a
and-
PDF?
Do what?
You bring in a PDF or not? No, you can't. Okay. But standard vector file or JPEG, something like that, it'll actually trace it. Angela, it really, if they're updates, there's no charge for them. And the upgrades, they charge as they come out. To give you an idea, the last version was version 11.
11.41, and we upgraded to 15.
Right. And that the reason it was called 11 is because it came out in 2011. So it's about once every 4 years or so. I think that we had version 8 or 9.
9, 10.
And so, it's not like there's a lot of upgrades, but it's
Right.
not, I mean, the software itself is less than 1,000. So the upgrades are not a lot of money.
Yeah.
The updates, which are fixes or just tweaks and stuff, there's no charge for those. You just do a download.
Yeah, the
Right,
only
and
time you
refresh.
run into an extra cost is if you have Liberty, you decide that you want to do rhinestones.
Right.
then
for the
that's
most
a new
part, right.
model,
If you want to add in like the hot fix that we'll have Mr. Villa show you how to do, or Sean's going to show you how to do, that is an extra module. And that's what the whole design era package is about. It's about you buy the modules that you want.
Okay, Nate has got a question. Is
The question we get at every one of these.
no Nate, no Macintosh software.
There are no commercial digitizing softwares for the Mac.
No.
Yeah,
There at one point there was a company that tried to, and they
and,
just
and there won't be.
there won't be because it's really all about horsepower. And why tie up a $3,500 Mac doing something that's basically straightforward horsepower?
But you can create your vector images on your Macintosh and then
And
just
import them,
use a
connect,
simple
import them in,
PC to import them in.
Think of this as the finishing process. You're
Right.
actually doing the finishing here. 95% of what people do, they finish in here. It's not something that they start with a blank screen and start drawing.
Yeah, so once you got the design, we've created embroidery. Now you want to do spangles or, put stones in. We will turn off the embroidery tab so we can see our image again. We can then go to our hot fix tab. We've got our stone set,
What size are you using there?
10SS.
All right.
Select the area. We'll go to our hot fix. Choose a single hot fix fill. Area with hot fix. And we have our stones.
Cool. So did everybody understand what happened? You created an embroidery design from a vector file and then made an embroidery file out of it, which we sewed out on the Avance, and now you're taking the same file and making a rhinestone design with it.
Correct. And then, for the border, same thing. You just select your border. Now make sure we got it right here. These two. Go to our hot fix.
Bang. Same
Bam.
color.
And we'll go ahead and select them. Change it down here from the 10SS blue to the 10SS pink. There you got your
There you
design.
go.
So within a matter of 10 minutes, you have opened up a vector image, created stitches for your design embroidery, turned those off, added your stones.
Yeah.
Your design is done.
And if you're going to be in the custom apparel business and you've got or are planning to get an embroidery machine, then for very little extra, you can add a significant source of revenues by doing rhinestones as well.
Glad we get a question here. Nope, we have an
Great.
answer. Great. Well, thanks.
Okay.
What about the overlap spacing on the outline? There you go. Good question.
Ah.
She caught you, Sean.
So
Sean, why don't you do a black background?
well, you
there so
pick the blue and bring in your what's the word for it?
The border.
The border. No, the margin.
There we go.
There we go.
So we'll
I'm
take
getting
that,
to
see,
be a-
we'll drop
I'm
that up
getting
to,
better.
you're getting better. Drop that to a 5. Go to a 3.
So Sean's adjusting the spacing between the stones.
Right.
Now, what we're adjusting now is how far out from the edge of the vector file
Right.
it will go. And then you can adjust the spacing of the stones.
Right.
So you continue to move this between how far apart the stones are and how far across the edge of the vector file it goes. And then if you've got some areas where you feel you could move them yourself, you can actually just manually move a few stones. That's
Correct.
usually what I'll do is I will create the border, create another piece, move the margins in and out, get the right zone and place where I feel comfortable, where it looks good, and there's no overlap. And then if there's any missing stones or pieces, then I'll manually drop 2 or 3 or 5 stones in.
Well, you can
Correct.
actually take those lines too and tell it to sit on it, above it, or below it, right?
Correct.
So you could take that outline and put it on the outside of that line.
Yep. Or we can just come in here and if you, instead of doing both of them as a 10 SS, maybe do one as a,
6. We have
Six.
6 and
6
6
is.
and then 10.
we'll go to 6, add that over here. We will select these paths, change it from the 10 to the 6.
There you go. So I mean, those are all quick tools. You know,
See-
you have total control.
Yep.
With this, and you can use it. And this is the cool thing. It allows you to start off with what Mark's going to show you, which is our brush and bake system.
Yeah.
And it also allows you, as you migrate, if this becomes a really big part of your business, both of our Rhinestone machines, the 2P and the 6P, exact same software. So you take all these designs you've already created. That's something critical if you're looking at long-term migrating into a large bling operation where you're going to go mechanical, and but you're starting off small with a cut and press type of system. I mean, we had somebody this and that. Sorry, guys. Our brush and bake system, right? And so many people have done that with other systems. And then all of a sudden they have all these templates and all these designs they can't use. These same designs, all you do is you pull them up, and instead of outputting them to the cutter, you output them, put
To the
them to
cams
your
or to the
cams
Spangle.
machine. And if you decide instead of going Rhinestone long term to go to Spangle, exact same thing. The hot fix is just you're choosing a Spangle instead of a stone, but they're the exact same size, so they set up the same.
Yep. So, I mean, you see the design real quick down at the bottom left. I'll show you. There's roughly 7,800 stitches just in the embroidery, and then you're using roughly 483 stones for the cut and press.
Cool. Any other questions on the software? Hey, Mark left the room. We can have fun. Anybody, any stories you might want to tell us about Mark?
Well, one other thing that we could say about the software is we could take that artwork, we could convert it to just vector lines, and then we can send it over to the cutter and cut vinyl material
That's
with
true.
it as well.
That's exactly right. We didn't even mention that, which was last week's webinar,
Yeah.
where we actually took and we cut out some stars and some names to marry with DTG, right? And you can do the same thing here, all right? All right, so we're getting ready to come back on here, and I'm going to turn over to Mark. But first, I wanted to show you, these are the pants that Mark had on. All right, that's what we were laughing about. But this is actually I don't know what you're talking it was something that was evidenced by people who actually know Mark. But this is actually a rhinestone design, and we're actually done on these pants that Mark likes to wear most
Like
of the time.
basketball
shorts,
practice
right?
shorts. Yeah.
It's, by the way, if you're going to practice, go to Walmart and go to the extra large size. This is
That's
like
exactly what we
3X
do.
size. You get a
That's
lot
exactly
of stuff
what
to
we do.
practice on. But Mark actually did those today in the pattern, right?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
absolutely.
Let me make sure we're turned right on you.
Are you
And
allowed
then I'm
to
going to
touch the
kind of turn it
camera?
over to
No, you're not.
Mark. There you
No,
go, pretty much.
You're not allowed to touch the camera.
All right.
Once, twice, maybe 4 times, you knock the camera over and unplug it.
Well, so where we are now is we're looking at the next add-on that you could put onto your embroidery business, which is a bunch of other little businesses added into it. So this is a GraphTech cutting plotter. So essentially what this device is we can feed various materials through here and we can cut them. So we can cut rhinestone templates, which we're specifically focusing on, or we can cut vinyl materials or glitter materials, such as making something like this that could go onto a shirt. So this is a glitter material. And you can also cut sign materials as well. So it's a great add-on. Then we've got a heat press that goes along with that because all of this stuff is going to be heat applied. We're going to apply it with heat. So what I'm going to show you here is what we've cut out. So what we've done is we've used a flock material. This flock material runs through the machine and it cuts out the holes, which is our template that we're going to use to make rhinestone transfers. So Mark, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
if we get a little more intimate here.
And and these the holes in there, that's exactly what Sean created
Yes.
on screen in Hotfix era. The rhinestones have been kind of translated into holes.
Exactly. So what the circles that we created are in the stones that we created, I should say, are essentially circle vector lines. They are little circle mathematical equations that you can send to any machine. And depending what machine you send it to, it translates it and tells it to do different things. So if you send that information over to a commercial rhinestone machine, it's going to know to put individual stones down. If you send it over to a cutting plotter like this, it is going to know to cut those lines. It's just how the machines interpret the math. So what we're going to do is we're going to show how we can take that design and combine it with embroidery or use it standalone by itself.
Hey, Mark, we've got a couple of people that said they have no pictures, so I just want to remind you all just to click away, click back, click down to the little snowflake at the bottom of the screen, or close all the other windows on your computer, and it'll likely come back.
Okay, great. So what we've got here is we've got some of our rhinestones that we sell here, the Crystalline by Coleman & Company. I've got two colors here. I've got Rose 10 and I've got Crystal 10. And I'm going to show you how this template system works. So we'll take some rhinestones and you can pour them on, or if you've got some you've already been working on, you can also just brush them on. And it's exactly what it says. We are going to brush these on and then we're going to bake them onto a shirt. Now what the rhinestones that land upside down roll out. The ones that land flat on the backside get stuck in to the template. And that's literally all this template system.
Just say it's a magic trick.
It's like a magic trick. And then I'm just going to push these out of the way. Now, I've had this for demonstration purposes, so I have like one up here and one over here. If you were doing a bunch of the same design, you could do it one in the middle, and then you could have rhinestones all around it in a big circle, or you can just brush them in every direction. But I'm going to push them all to one side since we're going to do two here on this one board. And it looks like and that's it. So we've created this template now, and we really need to get closer to really see what's happening here. Let me spin this around so you can see it. So these rhinestones are now in this template, and we're actually going to pull them out with some transfer
Hang on,
paper.
let me get right down
Thank you,
there.
Mark.
I'm going
I
to do a little
appreciate
manual camera work there.
There we go. Now that's a better view. We can actually see the light hit them. Okay, great.
Okay.
Now we're going to take transfer paper. You can buy this in rolls and sheets. It's basically like a big piece of tape. And the rhinestones are going to stick to this. Now, meanwhile, what we need to think about here is while we're doing this, your embroidery machine is typically going to be running while this is happening. So It only takes maybe 30 seconds to hoop your next shirt. So you start your machine, hoop your next shirt, you come over here, and as you can see, it takes the same amount of time as it took you to hoop to brush this in. And you're constantly have things going on. And then when your design comes off your machine, we're going to show you what you would do next. So you're going to take your transfer.
And transfer tape is basically Scotch tape.
Yeah, it's a big piece of tape that the stones stick to. And we just roll it right on like this. And all of your stones come off like that. And now we've created a rhinestone transfer. Now you can do two things with this. You can, if you're making a bunch of these in a row while your machine is sewing, because you're probably going to make all of these while you're maybe sewing out. If you're doing 20 shirts, you're going to be done with all 20 of these after maybe 4 designs because of the speed difference. So we've got that set. And now we can actually take what we just sewed out. Say if this was going to be how we were going to do the ladies' shirts. So we took all the ladies' shirts, we sewed this design on, and then now we're going to add some bling to the outside of it. You can have all these set, pull them apart. It does go one direction, only one direction in this design. And you line it up. If you think that you got it off or anything like that, you weren't exactly in the right spot, you just peel it back up and you stick it back down. So now that we're done with that,
Yep. You want to see the heat press.
we'll put it right here.
fashion police are going to arrest you, by the way, for the pink and orange. Even a redhead
Hey,
knows that.
that's this school's colors. You've offended
Orange
every
and
student.
pink is the school's
yeah,
colors.
you've offended every one of those students.
I'm
at
not
this
worried
school.
about offending the students that would go to that school.
You know what though?
They might
They're
be
paying
sweating.
customers, and if they like it, then
That's true.
then I'd be happy to offer them that product.
You're an easygoing guy.
It's not my job necessarily to tell somebody what would look
That
good
those
or
are
not for them.
okay.
And usually what you'll do is give it a little rub like this to make sure it sticks in well. And you're gonna let that cool off. Now, where's our other design, just so we can show that up close, the
The one
secondary
there.
Want
one?
to show this one?
No,
Okay.
the one that Don had.
Oh, that one we sewed.
The-
And then there
the
was
shorts.
The pants, I threw them at Mark. Mark has them on again. Let him take them off.
There you go.
Just so we can show the three things that we could have here. So these are the three things that we're able to create. Now that I'm waiting for this to cool off, by the way, before I peel it off, and I feel pretty comfortable with the temperature now. You let this cool off before you peel that transfer tape off.
That's Nadia. No, it does not cut fabric to do like, I assume you're asking about like appliques. You need a much heavier, I think we only have like 300 grams of down pressure with this.
Well,
But you need more like a kilogram of down pressure to
yeah,
cut
I
the
mean, if you
fabric.
want to, the answer is the same that I give for everybody for this. If you want to cut twill numbers, which is usually what a lot of people want to do, your machine will do this with the board that it comes with in a very inefficient way that if that's what you're going to be doing all day, every day, you should get a different machine.
Right.
If you needed to do one, I'd probably just cut it out by hand.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, yeah, it'll do it, but don't.
Shall we
You
do a
know.
little panorama of the
Yeah.
of the designs there? Let's
Yeah.
let's see if we can make that happen.
That's all from the same original artwork, y'all. You know, we could really blow your mind. We could have done some DTG printing in there. As Mark pointed out, literally, if you buy the package that is the brush and bake,
Mm-hmm.
all you need to really do is buy the vinyl.
Yep.
To do the glitter vinyl or to do the regular vinyl names and numbers and whatnot as well. So we have, this is actually another
There you go. That's a great one to show.
another
That's
blow
all.
your mind type of thing here. This is actually the gold glitter vinyl, which is just gorgeous. And they've actually embroidered around the edges of it, right, to do an applique. Then we've just sewn, obviously we're a little bit late on this for Christmas, but we've also sewn in some holly leaves here. So all of that falls out of this for nothing other than just different materials to run through here. Like Mark said, if you want to just get regular sign vinyl and do directional signs, tag signs, things like that, you can do that as well from this setup as well.
But there's really two connecting points, right? There's you've got a customer that you've earned through advertising or word of mouth that now you can offer embroidered garments and vinyl and rhinestones. So you're making more money from every customer. And you do that by taking the artwork that they've given you or you've designed for them and just creating in the same software an embroidery design, a rhinestone design, and a vinyl design all at the same time.
What's so cool about it is the time and the cost that it takes to say, make that, to design that rhinestone thing. I mean, if you spent 15 minutes on it, you perfected it.
Yeah.
If you spend 3 minutes on it, you made a quick one. And then to cut this out is a couple minutes. You saw how long it takes to just cut it out, but you could provide a sample for somebody after they ordered only the embroidery, but then you send them with a sample of the stones.
Yeah.
And you've given them another reason.
It's a
another
great
add-on.
revenue enhancement.
Yeah, revenue
So,
enhancer.
I was going to say sales technique, but people usually don't like that.
No, I mean, that's exactly what it is you give them a rhinestone shorts and you say, by the way, I can do this.
Yeah.
These are $19. If you wanted me to do these, here's one for free.
It's a deal.
A big thing that I think we're kind of hinting around, nobody's just saying it, the days of being a screen printer or being an embroiderer kind of gone, right? We talk to people now, they're apparel decorators, and all of these add-ons that are available now for relatively small money versus the bigger machinery really help you expand that reach like they're saying. But the cool thing is you don't think about is that customer who is coming to you for embroidery is getting shirts done for the Little League for his kid down the street because they needed names and numbers done, and they didn't want to spend the money on these 6-year-old kids to have applique done, right? Well, now you can take that customer and you can actually cut them out on a heat applied vinyl, heat applied the names and numbers to the jerseys for them, keep that customer at home, and make money on him. But secondarily, you're not exposing him to the guy down the street who also happens to do embroidery and may try to grab his embroidery business as well.
You know, Angela, you're asking probably one of the few guys at Coldesi who would be able to answer this question. Can you do this on cowhide or deer hide, and will it stick, Don?
It is so hard to get a deer to stand still enough to heat press them.
Heat pressing.
But
They are quick.
they are
Quick.
But the answer on doing anything to a hide like that is that it needs to be a raw hide. It doesn't have the natural oils. When you go to try to stick rhinestones or even vinyl to those type of things, or even to try to print on them,
Yeah.
you need to make sure it's in its natural state. Most of the hides you're going to get will have some kind of oil to them. Now you can strip that oil away, but if it's just a natural raw hide, kind of like a suede
You
type
can
of
do a
hide,
lot with it.
you can do a lot with it. With that, you can embroider on it as well. So
Right.
the answer is that, yeah. But if you take like a shiny type of hide that's been, treated with something like a mink oil or something like that, or some other type of synthetic oil, no, it's not. You'll heat it up and you'll go like this and you'll keep pulling the sheet away, and the stones won't. Maybe 4 or 5 of them might stick, but they're not going to stay there for a long
So
time.
before we get too far away from the conversation of combining the equipment and finding customers that you can, offer both to, I mean, that's really one of the biggest advantages to doing business with Coldesi, is that we can talk to you about more than one thing as your business grows, which include embroidery machines and vinyl and rhinestones and spangles and direct-to-garment printing and who knows what's next. We're an apparel decorating company just like you.
And we, the model for our company, and I started here in 2004, we sold embroidery machines, right? We were an embroidery machine company. In fact, our earliest sign said, #1 in embroidery machines,
Right.
was our motto. Now we are #1 in apparel decorating. The model that's worked for us is diversification, because it's the model that works for the industry.
Right.
And being able to diversify is huge, and doing it in baby steps like this, like I said, minimal upgrade. There's virtually no upgrade on a brush and bake system to be able to do vinyl, other than getting the right vinyl to put into the machine.
And if that takes off, then we have automatic rhinestone machines
Right.
that use the same software and use the same design files that
Right.
you've already created.
So there's a lot of flexibility there in growing your business. And like Mark said, it's something that when you sit down with us, we're here to consult and help you with your business and grow your business. It's not just about selling you a machine.
Yep.
And the guys that you talk, like Sean, who you heard talking here, a lot of these guys have practical experience, not just in working on the machines. They've actually done embroidery in production, right? So that's a huge part. When you call Sean up, you say, "Hey, dude, I'm trying to do this." John's not going to say, "Well, you hoop by doing this." Sean's going to say, "You're doing what type of material, what kind of jacket or whatever." He's probably done it, and he can give you some tips and tricks that he can walk you through. Plus, another thing we kind of almost blew by not talking about this. One thing we've added for 2016 is a series of webinars that we're going to be doing 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday.
Friday.
We respect you as our customers. We don't do it on Monday for a very specific reason. The tech support load is heaviest on a Monday morning because we've had a weekend of
Yeah.
build-up, and we don't want to take any of our techs out of the support area during that time so they can be catching up, getting people caught up from challenges that came up over the weekend. But Tuesday through Friday, we're going to be doing 2 webinars a day on refresher training, power user things, just how to fix this, how to replace that, how to
Application
tweak
techniques,
application
maintenance
techniques,
reminders.
everything, right? And so those are free. They're generally about a half hour, 40 minutes each. Start at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You go up on the CAS webinars,
Yep.
right? We are actually going to a YouTube channel. So as best as I can understand my redneck style, that's like having,
Possibly.
we're like on channel 472
it'll-
on
it'll-
cable
It'll be something
all
like
the
that.
time, right? So you'll be able to just come on and log on live and watch,
Public access.
our guys doing these special webinars on individual items
Yep.
as well. That's another thing. We're arguing over it. Mark doesn't want to call it Coldesi University, but I'm going to continue to say Coldesi University until it becomes de facto. But that's another thing we bring to the table to help you. And,
No one
and we'll
speaks
probably
like
have some incorporating the different aspects with it. And Mark Villa is doing, we joke he's actually a hand model now. He's done so many. There's
Yeah.
there's about 800 videos of his
He's
hand
always doing webinars.
applications. So it's not just about selling stuff; it's about application as well.
Couple last questions. Just type in your last minute questions. We're going to sign off here in just a few minutes. The heat press on camera, can it be set on a free arm kind of stand? It's heavy.
Yeah, it's not lightweight.
It's very heavy. So
There's actually, I think there are holes to bolt it down, so you could bolt it down to a stand. I would not want something this wide because you'd knock it over.
Angela, I'm not going to say what your question was, what your vote was as far as names of the webinars go. I'm just not going to read that out loud. So
She'd love the name.
please don't type that in in again. Okay. All right. I don't see any more questions.
Thank you guys for taking the time out this evening, late this afternoon if you're on the West Coast. If anything, how much is it? Wow, all of a sudden they start flying. Okay.
That's what always
How much
happens.
does it weigh? The Avance itself is like $180.
Yeah, about
It's 180 pounds for the Avance.
For the machine, the stand's another, 35 or so,
Yeah.
40.
You're welcome, Nada.
Nathan, I'll tell you what, I could go on for hours about the pros and cons of the Avance versus the Brother.
We've got an article that talks about
We
that.
do. Realistically, it's you're comparing a really high-end home machine to a commercial machine.
Yeah.
Where generally, if you match apples to apples for the same number of hoops, the same level of software, we're going to be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 cheaper than a Brother. We have a commercial warranty. The Brother machines do not have a commercial
Bigger
warranty.
embroidery
A
field.
much larger embroidery field.
Basically, Nathan, if you were not going to buy an Avance, there are probably 10 other machines we'd prefer you ended up with,
Right.
rather than the Brother. So
Right.
compare us to something else.
But Nathan, be glad to go into that more in depth with you. You actually, if you're signing up for this webinar, you've been assigned to an account manager. Your account manager should be contacting you the next day or two. If not, drop Mark an email or hit him up.
We'll
hit him
send
up
you a
on
link.
Facebook.
We did a nice
Yeah.
long article about the differences.
I like what Nadia says. She spelled it wrong though,
Brother sucks.
and she says, but that yes, they're
great.
not a commercial machine.
Right.
It's a really cool home machine. Understand, we've been through 2 changes in models over 12 years.
Yeah.
They go through a new model every 2 years because they have to sell you a new machine to keep it afloat. They're a
Right.
retail organization. We're about selling commercial equipment to commercial businesses.
Do you have to use your specific rhinestones? Mark Vila, do you have to use Coleman and Company rhinestones in the brush you make? You should.
Yeah, why wouldn't
recommended.
you?
Why wouldn't you? There's no reason not to.
You can use any hot fix rhinestones in there. They are designed for hot fix stones. We spend a lot of time continuously in regards to studying stones, testing stones, trying new stones, and also being as aggressive as we can on pricing. So if there's any reason why you wouldn't want to use our stones after you've tried them, the ones that come with it, then you need to give us a call and talk to us about it, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure you get the right stuff.
Okay. Does the mega hoop need to be flipped around, or does it
No.
embroider the entire
Good
area?
question, Nathan. That would be a question that fits into the home machine mode. No, it shows that whole area at one time. All right. It shows that entire 20 by 14 contiguous. You don't have to do half and half with a split design. Hey guys, you guys have had, look like we got one more question we can scroll down to.
Okay.
No, ladies, I am married. Sorry. It comes, the software comes with a basic package called Stitchiera Universal, which is a Reader's Digest version of what Sean showed you. It has the exact same interface, less fonts, less digitizing fill patterns, less motifs.
But everyone gets Stitchiera Liberty. I mean,
Right.
basically,
Yeah.
if you're just starting your business, you need Liberty.
Basically, if you don't already have digitizing software, people buy the Liberty.
Yeah.
If they're already in business and you have a software, even if you have the Brother machine, the Brother software, in a lot of cases, people really are comfortable with.
Yeah.
And it will generate a DST file, which is what these use. Hey,
All right,
thank you
guys.
again
Yeah.
for taking your time. Look forward to doing some more of these, and y'all have a great evening. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.